Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it's February 25th of 2024, and it's 9:30 p.m. here. I didn't intend to, because I have a bunch of stuff to do. I really didn't intend to make this. Well, I've kind of messed up. I've had some health problems and financial problems and everything else going on. So for the last couple weeks, uh, my YouTube videos haven't been as good as I wanted, and so I'm kind of trying to make up for it. But I don't think this is going to do it. But I'm going to try to make up for it. Uh, on the other screen, uh, about a year ago, a long time ago, I did a WordPress. Well, I did a bunch of stuff. I started in 1982, if not before, you know, uh, doing so. Let's just take online stuff, and not counting the DXing program that I did on shortwave radio that went around the world and broadcast over WRUL radio, New York, worldwide, etc., etc. I mean, let's start with 1982. Um, I dealt with a lot of hosting companies, a lot of things like that. Uh, Back quite a few years ago, I should write that information down or put it someplace. I wonder where I could put it. um, so about a year ago, well, let me go back further. In addition to being online or whatever, I did a WordPress site online. And I've mentioned in some of the videos that you may have seen where I felt like I was somebody important. You know how you see these things on television where some movie star or a politician or somebody like that, calls up or complains about something and people fall all over themselves and things get taken care of right away. Or, of course, you hear about the stupid things. Some police officer gets stopped by another police officer and it doesn't turn out well, or a mayor gets stopped, and I mean, whatever. But uh, when I had the WordPress site, uh, it was fun setting it up, and it was fun working with it, and I really enjoyed, going in there and changing things and doing things. And there was, and I'm sure there still are, probably a lot more, but I'm not in that area now to know how it's going on or how it's working out now. But I would blog about something on my WordPress site, and immediately I'd be contacted by one of these people who monitors what's going on, looking for their name being mentioned or something or a problem. And once in Miami, when we moved after a few years to another location um, in Miami. See, what was that? Oh, okay. Moved. And so the internet was supposed to be hooked up right away, right away. And a guy was sent over, and you could tell I didn't speak any Spanish, and he didn't speak any English. He knew two words: television and internet. And but luckily, the little apartment complex, there was neighbors, who spoke, bilingual or whatever. So I could go over and I could, hey, could you? And so the guy was there all day, and of course he was getting phone calls, on his phone or whatever, like he was supposed to be doing. He was supposed to be setting up probably 10 or 15 people with internet, and they wanted to know where he was and what was taking him so long. And I've mentioned this story a couple of times, maybe more than, well, it's on here, so you'll probably run across it maybe someday. Uh, the guy just couldn't do it. Finally, he went out to the curb, and there was a unit out there, and he hooked into that. But that was, I forget the major corporation. It was, uh, I forget which major, it was an internet provider, and they had installed these on the at a deal, next to the city street, next to the curb there, or whatever. That's where these things were, and they were they were going to do that all over Miami, which was going to cost a lot of money. And so, whichever company it was, their experts and everything were looking down the road and realizing that satellites were going to be broadcasting and all kinds of things were going to, wireless and all kinds of things that are now happening that I've actually, in the last few years here, experienced them all. And, but anyway, this guy who came had hooked into the box on the street for the internet. And then as soon as this guy left, he said he had trouble with something else, but he left. And so I turned the computer on, and I turned the television on and whatever. And I realized and I forget which one it was, but he was bringing in internet from this company that had decided they weren't going to cover this area anymore because they were going to wait, and instead of having to run cable all over Miami, because it was the deal was, how it's a deal, they would have, full access, and others would be locked out and all this kind of stuff. And then there was the other thing that we were getting was actually not the internet stuff, but so anyway, I typed about it on my WordPress thing. Boom. That day or the next day. I think that day, these people who work, they found it. They contacted me, and it was a Sunday. It was either a Sunday or they were going to do it the next day. I think it was that day. Hey, we're going to have a supervisor come out with a crew, and they will fix your problem, Mr. Howard. And they did. They showed up. What was interesting was they looked around and they couldn't find the box for our place. So they cut through the lawn from one of the other houses, and they came over and hooked me up, and that was it. Things like that happened a lot. So about a year ago, and I enjoyed doing the WordPress thing. It was great. Kind of hard to explain. Maybe sometime I'd kind of go into it. Maybe you'll find something about it in the past. One thing, things happened. It wasn't just people who worked for companies who were scanning everything, looking for and then those people. It wasn't just those people. It was people that I knew or people that knew me. I happened to read when I worked hospital security at St. Joseph Hospital, the police officer who had that district, I can't remember that. It doesn't matter. Jim, it doesn't matter but that was his area to patrol, and he helped me out several times. Coming to the hospital, not help me out with a fight or anything like that, but with the problem, and stuff like that. Really a great guy, a really nice guy. And anyway, it just happened to be back then. For a while, I went through a thing my parents did. I always wondered why, or not why. I knew why, but every day they would read the obituaries in the Kansas City Star or Times. I forget which uh, one was the morning paper and one was the evening paper. I forget which. Probably it would be the morning paper that would have the obituaries in it. And they would read them, and my mother and father. I never called them mother and father. I always called them Jim and Betty because that's what they called each other. Um, but I saw that uh, this police officer had passed away, and so I wrote something on my thing about him and about the times that he helped me out, how he helped me out. Uh, he was Catholic. The hospital I was working at was a Catholic hospital. Uh, things came up. Uh, One time there was, to give you, no, I don't need to do that. Just use your imagination. But anyway, I wrote about what a wonderful person he was and how he helped out when our two security officers were shot. First one seriously injured, and the second one, John Galegas, was killed. And that type of stuff. And I wrote about it, and I got an email from Eugene's daughter, and for her sister also. And anyway, said, "Oh, Mr. How I forget how she wrote it. I left a comment or whatever. Thank you so much for what you said about our father, and what a wonderful man you thought he was, and what a great police officer, and all that kind of stuff." And she said, when I read that, she said, I just cried. And then I, showed it to my sister, and she cried too, and said to thank you for, the kind words. And she said, we haven't shown it to our mother yet. She's still grieving, but at the right time, we're gonna show it to her. There were things like that happened. A whole lot of stuff. That's when I was doing the WordPress site. I still had, some other internet type stuff going, and that was really internet stuff too, because it was going online. Um, um, so I got sidetracked. Oh, but anyway, that was quite a few years ago. And I always missed that WordPress site. I'm embarrassed to mention that one time I decided to, I could get things done. I mean, I would blog about something and somebody would say, Mr. Howard, we will fix that for you, or we'll do this or do that, or what about, somebody, I don't even know what it was about. Somebody, all of a sudden I started getting a ton of Portuguese comments coming in from Brazil. And I don't even know but a reporter down there on a Portuguese newspaper commented about my site. I don't know what he said. I didn't bother to find out, but people were coming, clicking, click, click, coming in. I don't know what if I. Yeah, I mentioned that before, and it's kind of embarrassing, so I'm not going to mention it. One time this didn't work. I'm going to go ahead and mention it, aren't I? When I was working in Miami, right across the street from the place where we lived, or whatever was, the street, and I went to work I worked a year security over there, and then across the street was CompUSA, and I worked there for about a year. And the manager there was really, really nice and smart. And that story, how they talk about location is an important thing. And that CompUSA store was small. The aisles were really narrow. And when I went to work there, after a while, they sent me and a couple others over for some training to another CompUSA store that wasn't very far away, but it was like a palace, wide everything, and meeting rooms and the whole thing. But for the United States or whatever, CompUSA's uh, no comp. What did I say? CompUSA. Okay, I forget the name of the company. Uh-oh. Anyway, their headquarters was, and it was either in Carrollton, Texas, or in, I think it was in Carrollton, which was here. Um, and they had a gigantic building, multi-story building filled with, CompUSA business people and people who do whatever, shipping and not shipping of supplies from there, but that type of stuff, executive stuff. And the little CompUSA store, and I'm not taking any credit for it. I'm taking credit for it. I really, um, uh, that store, when things came up, okay, if you sell X amount of this product, you'll get this, bonuses and that kind of stuff. And that our little store there in Miami was would win usually. There was a CompUSA store in Puerto Rico. Now sometimes it was number one, and we were like number two. But a lot of times we were number one when what was that thing that you could put music on, the first things that you really, click on your belt or whatever. That's when, well, I don't think that CompUSA invented it, but I guess they were selling it anyway. But all the employees, got one. I gave one. I gave it. I think last. Well, I haven't seen him in years, but he lives not very far away from here. But I gave, last time when he was going to work here, he'd wear that to work when he was going to work to listen to music and whatever. But anyway, yeah, I already decided to skip the thing that I was going to talk about, and then decided that I wasn't going to talk about it, and I've decided I'm not going to talk about it because it's not a good story. It's a time that I told a bank or whatever, you don't know who you're dealing with. I have a lot of followers, and I'm going to, so that didn't work out. And that's the only time I did that ever in my life. I never in my life ever said I'm somebody, but I did it that one time. I was so pissed. Well, kind of what it boiled down to. I worked across the street from CompUSA, from the shopping mall, Dadeland Mall, and I was off that day, but I went over there, and I went to the ATM. It was payday, I went to the ATM, and money wasn't available in it. Well, that happened occasionally. So I went to the other side, working my way through the mall, and tried that, not, wouldn't work. It was kind of weird. And so then there was a bank in part of the mall parking lot. They worked out a deal, and they had an ATM right outside their door. And it was the same ATM, of course, with the bank that, they were like, there was and then there was the bank, same company. So I went to the one outside the door, put my money in it, and it showed that, I forget exactly how, but it didn't give me any money, but it showed that they didn't give me any money. I forget how it showed up. It was weird. So then I was worried, because I had to pay rent and stuff. But then I went into the thing, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's messed up and whatever." And I said, oh, "Okay, well, I need to get my money." Oh no, they'll the bank down the street will pay you. And now they were a bank. This is crazy. That's why I went a little nuts, And I said, I need to pay rent and stuff like that, and you're telling me I'll be paid in a week or two because of this, because your machine malfunctioned or whatever. Yeah, I can't help you. So I went down the street, and that's when I went in there and I said, okay, you don't know how important I am, and and they were like, nah, you have to wait 2 weeks, or maybe it was a week or something, and at that point. And I said, well, this is probably the end of you. You're probably going to be going out of business. I left. You know what? They went out. Now, I had nothing to do with it. And I knew I didn't have anything to do with that. Uh, but they did go out of business. The bank, not just that place, but the bank system went out of. So, but still, I don't really like to tell that, but I think sometimes people should tell things to let everybody know how honest you are and how stupid you are sometimes. Um, anyway, oh, I had a reason for this. Oh, so that was a year. Okay, a year ago, I'd had so much fun with that WordPress site. I loved it. Uh, but the bad point about WordPress site, like when I started, I'm not sure when they started, but when I started in there, it was, you know, set it up and you got, sure you'd purchase a program or something that would help your site or something like that. It was all reasonably priced and everything like that. It did get to be kind of expensive. They kept, upgrading the component or something, but it wasn't bad. It was just kind of annoying. And, but, or anyway, I did that for quite a while, and I don't know, well, YouTube and that kind of stuff, other things. I wish I'd have continued to WordPress thing. I could have done both. They would have shared. I wish I'd have done both. Continued to do WordPress. But I didn't go back because I saw what was happening. All these little things you could purchase. You didn't have to. I mean, your WordPress site would still be going. But they had these other things, and I always like to add something new and whatever. But so about a year ago, I decided, I really enjoyed that so much. And so I contacted, well, I see here they're listed as bluepress.org, and I think they're listed as bluehost.com. And I think they something else. See, Bluehost. Okay. So they specialize in WordPress hosting, domain names, email services, all this kind of stuff. So I contacted them about a year ago, and I wanted to set up a WordPress site again. I have plenty to keep me busy, now and every day, but I wanted to do it. So now when I did it before, I don't think I used them. I'm not sure they were around then. But I checked online a whole bunch of different sites. And I thought I'd have no problem at all, setting it up a WordPress site with them. So I signed up with them and paid the money, and I forget how much it was. I think they started out kind of gradual or something. I can't remember. I don't remember the exact details of it. Anyway, it was Bluehost, but they have other names, tied in together. I'm looking at their front page or whatever over here on the other screen. And so then I started, and they were there to help me, And God damn, it was not like it was back when I did it. I mean, they had they'd progress to make it into a big thing. In fact, uh, WordPress is, now maybe I'm doing this saying it right. Anyway, like CNN and just about everything you see on the internet is because of this WordPress.org and the other ones that are, that's the software. No, okay, what is it called actually? WordPress. Anyway, when you're at a, CNN, of course, they have at CNN, you know, uh, electronics people, computer people, that work on but it's my understanding that, it's, uh, you know, this WordPress, it's been developed, into what it is now. And probably there's people working in, some major gigantic corporation. I don't even realize that their, origin came from, if I'm looking at this in the correct way, from WordPress. So anyway, I was looking forward to it, and so I spent about a day getting input. Now, they weren't hooked up with, I would occasionally, they had a system, you go through and you do these various things. I'm not smart enough for that. I should have known I wasn't smart enough for it. I mean, you probably would be smart enough for it, or somebody else, but I wasn't. And so I didn't get it. I didn't get it set up. Now I took a domain name, an additional one. I used to have a bunch of domain names. I sold one for was it $10,000? I don't even want to tell you the one that I sold for almost nothing, domain name. Oh, please don't. It makes me want to find a rope, and I sold it. A friend of mine told me, don't sell it, hang on to it. And I sold it for $10,000. And I don't even want to think about what, wow. But anyway, so I paid for a year and didn't do anything with it. I paid for to be able to use the domain name, or to, not the domain name. Well, yeah, I mean, I paid for a domain name. But I couldn't use it. I mean, I just couldn't. I wasn't smart enough. I know you look at me and you say, such an intelligent man, and handsome too, and young. You see all those things. And you better see a psychiatrist if you do. So anyway, in fact, I forgot about it. Forgot that I was even signed up for it, But anyway, they contacted me and billed me, for for a year. I probably could have paid month to month, but anyway, I think they sent me a thing for it. And I thought, well, no. So anyway, I called them just a while ago, and I just had trouble with another different situation. Had some trouble with, but I called them up, Bluehost, and right away got this guy, and I said, okay. I said, well, a year ago exactly, I wanted to run a WordPress site because I had run one in the years ago, a long time ago, and it was fun and I enjoyed it. I wanted to do it again. I said, well, I positively am not smart enough to do it. And he probably could tell by talking to me, And so I said, I want to cancel the hosting fee. And he said, okay. And he said, now you got a domain name. What about that? And I said, well, maybe I better just go ahead and cancel that because I didn't particularly like it. Somehow it was assigned, when I signed up that was available. Howard.net or not Howard, whatever, I forget. And he said, okay. And he said, You know, he checked, of course, you know. Okay, I guess he could tell how much time I probably had spent. It was all during one day trying to do it. They might have even, whoever was, you know, might have even entered in. This guy is too stupid to have a WordPress. That might appear, it popped up. That might have done it. But anyway, the guy fixed everything, so I'm not being billed for that. And that's good because I mentioned in the previous video, I think, that I put in an order for a new cell phone, less than $200, because the one I have is too smart. It's smarter than I. Does it give you a pattern or something? Uh, so I'll be getting a new, and basically I'm still out the money, but I mean, it's now going to be something I want, and I'll have in a couple of days. Okay, 30 minutes. Do you want to look at keyboards? I'm killing. I mean, I know you looked at peaks. We've talked about that. Uh, the keyboard I'm using now, the Red Dragon, I like everything about it. Well, you know, the one little tiny thing I don't like about it. Well, let's see here. I think I better not try to show you this thing. I'm just going to hit a key and probably disconnect it. It has a volume control thing up, you know, a little roller thing that you can go. But my finger goes down, and I expect it to be here, but it's up on a little ridge, and that kind of, I'll get used to it. But I think everything on here is the weight, the size, everything. And I've got it programmed just to do red keys. I could do all that scanning, and I think this is, never have to do that. Gotta look bad. I look like a space. The doctor was concerned about how much weight I've lost. Everything looks okay with the keys. They feel right. Everything. There must be something. Let's see. No, really. Okay. Now here is the G. That's Google, or is that what is it? Logitech G910. I like this, but unfortunately, I cannot get the software. You know, this is it's an older, you know, version. They have a slightly newer, and I don't think they've followed along with, you know, like a whole series or something. I think they have and I like it, but I can't get totally the new software or the software to, and it has a bunch of, which I never use, you know, programmable things. I just never, but I like it, and it has a good feel, uh, and everything looks like English. None of these things that they're like saving, you know, I don't know what languages they, where the companies or whatever, but some of these they decide, well, you know, this, I don't see one on here, but, well, we can use I don't see one, so I can't, but, you know, where you look at a key and you don't know, you know, is that a G or, you know. Okay. Ouch. There we go. Ouch. 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 Don't fall. No. Ouch. Now. Hang on. Don't self-destruct. Now here is the DOS keyboard. And I love it, except it's not lighted keyboard. And I spent quite a bit of money. I think it was close to $300 for it. But now they do make a keyboard just like this, and it is you know, lit. But I just can't bring myself, and I do, well, of course, especially now, but I'm having cataract surgery here next month on the 3rd, in fact, not very long far from here. But, oh, anyway, this is, you know, has the perfect kind of keyboard. Just everything is just perfect about it, except it's not lit. Keyboard is not lighted, but you can now get it. And there's a couple other keyboards that are like it, that are, built the way it is and everything. And but you see what I got here. I mean, none of these were sent to me for review purposes, by the way. And I like, keyboard. I forget which one I really like. This is I'm doing a poor job on this. Yeah. I'm going to put this away. I'm getting tired. I'm not going to. I've done these before, but never done a thorough job of it. But I do love keyboards. I'm not crazy about, well, it's good to have a good mouse. This is Logitech G. Logitech, I can't read what it, can't see what it says. Maybe I can after my cataract surgery. Anyway, something. Also, I'm trying to take my medicine for not for the first time. I used to take my medicine, then I've really stopped. And I've got also, I never had that before. My heartbeat is doing beep, 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 beep. It's doing that. And so, and I talked about that not long ago. Well, not about that, but about something with the heart and with the rhythm from when I was 26, no, uh, 32, I think, years of age. And then when I was, let's see, from 26 to add 12 to that. Yeah. So, and, but it was different than this. This I'm worried about more, really. And I mentioned in a previous video that back here on back here on this corner, I'm pointing to it. It's kind of blocked, but this white thing right here, that the cardiologist has that here. Well, I'm not at the unique. It's a thing that you can get that the doctor would, and it monitors me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I've mentioned that a lot. I went to my regular doctor, and she decided to do an EKG on me. And the EKG came back, and it was beep, 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 and some of those were echoes of other. So I'm going in for that, unless they decide not to do the cataract surgery because of the EKG. I'm not sure. I don't think that's going to happen. Anyway, I'm still going to try to use CapCut unless you can think of something else. Something like Manicam. I really love Manicam, but whoops. I think I explained it, but if I never mind, maybe I should mess with OBS. A bunch of people want me to mess with OBS, I've used it a few times, more than a few times. Over the years, I tried it. Um, Not long ago, I think I was it OBS. I went to that site where you can hire somebody for, you know, what do they call that? If you got some talent, you can hire yourself out and you can do various. My voice is going, and the guy gave up on me. Smart guy, he gave up on me. He tried to do things, and I couldn't follow along with him. And so I said, you sound kind of tired." And he said, "I am kind of tired." I said, maybe we just ought to just take a break on this for a while. And he said, "I think that'd be a good idea." I'll refund your money. Actually, I didn't get my money back, which is fine with me. It wasn't much money, by the way. I think, I don't know, $20 or something like that, or maybe it was 40. It wasn't very much. And it's in an account with if I go to whatever that thing is, that company, I'll have a credit with them. Now I'm coming up here on 83 years of age. I think they may end up with that money. That's okay. That guy deserves it. He might have decided to give up doing that kind of stuff for people. Thank you very much for watching.